It's connected, isn't it? Don't you think? The law of passion and desire. So let's... All right, so what are we saying here? What we're saying is that I am the most powerful creator when I am operating in my desires completely. That's what I'm saying. So that's the law of desire. And remember, desire is about asking. Remember, we talked about asking. Asking isn't something that occurs in your head either. It occurs in your emotions. What do I feel I want? Not what do I think I want. This is why for many people, when they hear about the law of attraction, like the secret style, law of attraction, they try doing all these intellectual things and then they still can't create what they want. Because at the soul level, there's a whole different emotion creating what they want. So the law of desire is I'm allowed to create and I can create anything I want. Ask and you shall receive. Now, how many times do we break that? Well, quite a lot. Every single time you ask for something and don't believe you're going to get it, you break the law. Because the feeling, the emotion in you is, I'm not going to get that. That's not going to happen for me. And off it goes, right? Straight away, you're breaking the law. But also, every single time you allow another person in your life to stop you from doing what you desire, you break the law. And lots of people break the law this way. Like, how many of us work in a place that we don't like? We're breaking the law of desire. Remember, every time I break the law, the consequence is pain. So you will feel a painful emotion inside of yourself when you do not allow yourself to follow your passions and desires. Now remember, because of the law of free will, you're allowed to have any desires you want, and they can even be out of harmony with love, if that's what you want. But if they were in harmony with love, you would actually prevent yourself from actually acting upon that desire, if they were out of harmony with love. So if my desires were out of harmony with love, I would actually look at the underlying emotional reason inside of myself as to why it's out of harmony with love, and I would deal with that emotion. Once I dealt with that emotion, what would I feel? I would feel only feelings that are harmonious with love, and then I can have any desire I want in those feelings. So this is a very powerful law to experiment with yourself. Every time you deny this law for yourself, you will harm yourself. Ironically too, every time you deny this law for yourself, you harm everyone around you. Because even with your children, every time you don't act in your desire, you are teaching your child to not act in their desire. So they grow up thinking that desires can't be acted upon either. It's not practical, in the environment we live in and so forth. And that creates their reality. So they'll grow up, 15, 16, they badly want a horse, but it's not going to happen. My desires never come true. But if the child is allowed to have its desire, they'll find if they badly want a horse, the world, the universe, will conspire to bring them exactly what they desire, just like the universe will conspire to bring you exactly what you desire. But remember, the law of desire always operates upon the soul. It doesn't act upon what you think you want. It acts upon what is going on inside of yourself. So if my emotion inside of me is that I'm just totally unworthy to get anything I want, what's my law of desire? How's that going to work? I'm going to get nothing that I want. In order to trigger that soul-based emotion, the law of attraction will trigger that emotion. When I release that emotion, I will then get exactly what I want. Right? Everything is based upon the soul, which are the emotions, passions and desires operating within you. Now, you can put that into practice and experiment with that. Every time you experiment with that, you'll find that desire is one of the most powerful things you can develop. So the divine love path is not just about dealing with negative emotions, right? It's also about learning to exercise your positive desires. Yeah? And really follow them completely. You'll be surprised when you start doing it that oftentimes you have no idea what desires you actually have. Like, I went through this period in my own life where I sat down and I went along to a guy who was helping me work through emotions, and he asked me to do an exercise. And the exercise was that I had to list all of my passions. And I went back the next week with a blank page because I didn't really know what they were, right? And there was a heap of emotions in that. And I was talking last week at one of our seminars we did at Armidale to a couple of fellows after the group. And they come up to me and said, you know, I've been seeking, one of the men was in his 60s, and he's come up and said, you know, I've been seeking to know what my life's purpose is for the last 60 years, and I still don't know what it is. And I said to him, actually, your problem isn't not knowing what your life purpose is. The problem is that you were never allowed to have one when you were little. You were never allowed to have a desire when you were little. And as soon as I said that, he just started crying. And he could feel that immediate emotion of never being able to have a desire. Now, this man had spent all of his money over the last 60 years looking for what his passion was and ending up really, really frustrated. But actually, he couldn't find his passion because there was this emotion in him, in the soul, that you're not allowed to have your passion. And if that emotion's in your soul, at the end, unless that comes out of your soul, you're going to live the rest of your life thinking that you don't know what you feel and don't know what you desire. Just that one emotion which would have entered him when he was very little, told, you know, by mum or dad, telling him that he's not allowed to do those things. Does that make sense? Okay.